Marriage doesn't just work on the basis of physical steps, physical tips, physical strategies, as well as those ones are important, but they are one side of the coin. There is a physical preparation of marriage, which has to do with your character development, self development, acquiring some properties, some things, getting money available, and so many other things that you need to put together to prepare for marriage. But the other side of it, or the other side of the coin, is the spiritual aspect of your marriage. Marriage is one thing that you cannot neglect in your life. It's a phase of your life that changes everything about you. It changes your life, it changes virtually everything. It affects your destiny. So if you want to do well in marriage, then you have to listen to me in this video. You really need to hear every tips I'm going to share in this video on how to prepare for marriage spiritually. So you prepare spiritually because life is so spiritual. So you have to understand that some of the things that people go through in marriage, most of them are spiritual issues. Like sometimes you see people that have issues with childbirth, they have issues with sickness, they are just basically a lot of things that people go through, and some of them are highly spiritual. So it is good to prepare the spiritual atmosphere of your marriage so that when you get into marriage, lines or things will begin to fall together in pleasant places for you. That is what I mean here. So I'm going to be giving you 6 areas that you are to pray about to prepare for your marriage. And I'm going to share with you on what to pray and how to pray. So number one of it is praying for yourself. Now I'm going to guide you on how to pray for yourself, what to pray for yourself. Some people don't know how to pray, and that's why Jesus, of course, when he was on earth, he had to guide people on how to pray. But even now, there are some people that cannot pray. They don't know what to pray. Like they just that you opened your mouth and you started talking and all that. It's not just how to pray. There's a way to pray, because prayer is more like enforcement. What you pray is what you're going to have. It's more like someone that is working and you are told that how much you labor is what you're going to be paid. So that's how prayer is. So praying effectively and praying the right way is so important. So the first area to focus on when you want to pray and prepare for your marriage spiritually is praying for yourself. The second area is to pray for your spouse. If you are a man, you'll be praying for your wife. If you're a woman, you'll be praying for your husband. Then the third one is praying for your children. If you desire to have children in the future, because we're in a generation where some people don't want to get married again. So praying for your children, then praying for your finances is so important. Then praying against unforeseen circumstances, that is number 5, and praying for the grace of God to really become the best kind of couple, or have the best kind of family ever, depending on what your desire is. So first of all, let's go into the first one, which is praying for yourself. To know exactly how to pray for yourself and what to pray and how to go about it, the first thing you should pray about is that you be a blessing and not a curse in your marriage. There are some people that they regret getting married to their spouse simply because immediately they walked into their life, a lot of things just goes wrong. Some people begins to attract failures. It happens, just like the Bible says that he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. It means that when a man gets married, he should of course have favor because he's married. But it's not like that to everybody. There are people that once they get married, they'll start having issues. They will start having complications because someone walked into their life. Of course, sometimes when you walk into people's life, you walk in either with favor or you're walking in with curses. Yes, because the kind of spirit that follows you is what your spouse is going to be receiving. There are people that are dealing with personal issues in their lives. So it's so important. So it doesn't matter what is happening around you or where you are, whether everything is all right with you. It's so important that you pray, because one thing about prayer is that what you pray is what you have. So you pray that as you are going into this marriage, that your life is falling in the favor of everyone in that family. You pray that you are attracting blessing. You are a blessing, that people that are in that family, the family that you are going into, whether you're a man or a woman, is going to be blessed because of you, and they will have a good testimony of you, that nobody will complain or feel that it was you that brought bad lucks and a lot of things in the marriage. So it's so important that you pray for yourself towards that area, that you will be be a blessing to your spouse, to your children, and to everybody's life as you step into that marriage. So the next area to focus on in praying for yourself is that your strength will not fail. Marriage requires energy. It takes energy to serve your spouse. It's going to take energy to serve your children. It's going to take energy for you to build a successful home. Like you're going to be staying awake sometimes at night. You're going to be focusing on helping this person get this job done, helping the other person, helping your spouse, being available for them. Sometimes you are tired, but your services are needed. So you pray that you have strength. Of course, sometimes why we say that people are lazy in marriage is because they don't have strength. And sometimes they can't help it. They are trying to help themselves, but it's difficult for them to carry themselves up and do the necessary things that are required of them. So laziness is sometimes an issue of lack of strength. So you pray that you have energy to be alert, to be on duty, to do the things that are required of you, to fill up the gaps where you ought to fill. So you pray that you have the strength, that God help you with strength to be able to meet up with all the targets and all the areas that you are meant to function in marriage. So the next prayer point for yourself is that you pray that you meet up with marriage goals. When people are going into marriage, they have goals, they have visions. You personally, I believe you have visions and you have goals. So why are you going into marriage? I know you have your soul. You shouldn't lose your goal, you shouldn't lose your vision, you shouldn't lose your destiny because you are married. But it takes the supernatural to help you also. Sometimes a lot of responsibilities and pressures of marriage can, get you to be distracted and you will not fulfill your destiny or you will not fulfill your goal. So you pray that as you're moving into this marriage, that you have what it takes to fulfill your goal and that your destiny will not be terminated because you are married. A lot of people's, destiny or their plans, their goals, everything just dies down just because they got married, and it's not normal. So, what happens when you pray is that you're activating the supernatural power of God to help you where you cannot help yourself, to shift things where you cannot shift it, to help you put things together to work for your good. Finally, on praying for yourself is for those that are yet to have a spouse. Like if you have not attracted a spouse yet, of course, even if you have attracted someone and you feel that the person doesn't fall in line, you have to pray this prayer. You pray that you attract the right person. Pray that you attract someone who God has prepared for you and someone who you can really work with. It's not just someone who God has prepared for you. Sometimes I don't like saying that because sometimes people close their eyes to what they want in a spouse and just say, God, anything you have for me, give it to me. And of course, they won't even know what God has for them because they don't have expectation. They don't know what they deserve. So you should know what you deserve, the kind of spouse or partner you deserve, because it has to be something that suits into your life, suits into your destiny, suits into your purpose, something that aligns with where you are going in life, who you are, just something that you are comfortable with and you love. So when you find that person, you should be comfortable and know that this is what I want, and I feel this is God's will for me. So that's so important. So you don't leave it for God. God, give me anything, and when the person comes, you wouldn't even know whether it's from God or not. Anybody that tells this this one is God's provision, you just go with it. Second prayer point you should be praying before marriage is praying for your spouse. Whether you found the person or not, it's so important that you pray for your spouse. God knows who you will finally settle with. So as well as you are praying to attract the right person, you're also praying that your spouse, will be qualified enough. So whatever you have as an expectation for your spouse, attracting the right person is one thing, but the right person acting right towards you is another thing. So you have to condition the atmosphere in the place of prayer. Pray that your spouse becomes all that you want. Of course, you should know what you want. Pray that God, what it means is that you're asking God to help this person to become your dream spouse or your dream partner, whether wife or husband. You're asking God to help this person, as well as this person is going to desire to be there for you. Sometimes people desire to be everything to you, but they can't just help themselves or they can't help it. So in the place of prayer, you pray that they have the same way you prayed for yourself to, be a blessing and not a curse. You also pray that your spouse will be a blessing, because Satan is very good at frustrating so many people. And of course, they have good plans, good intentions, but of course, when they walk into your life, you might not see what you expected and you'll be wondering what is happening. It is not their desire, just that they cannot help it. So your prayer would go and condition them and help them, be in the right position to be a blessing to you and to become everything you ever desire to have in them as a spouse. So it's very important that you pray for them, pray that you attract the right person, and also pray into them what you want to see. It's going to help them a whole lot. The next prayer point before you marry is praying for your children. So it's important that you pray for your children the same way you prayed for your future spouse or your partner. Pray for your children. Pray what you want to see. It's very important. Exactly what you want to see in marriage. That's the same way you pray for what you want to see in your children. Maybe you don't want them to hang out with bad friends, you don't want a wayward child, you don't want this, you don't want that. There are some attitudes you don't want to see, you don't want unnecessary mistakes. You begin now to pray and intercede for your unborn children. One day they are going to come alive, and of course, at that point or that moment, you might be caught up with a lot of activities trying to meet up with this and that. So you begin early to pray for your children, and if you pray for them now, believe me, one thing about God is that He answers prayer and He is faithful. So none of your prayers are waste. Those prayers is going to wait for you. God is faithful. And when the time comes, you will see the manifestation of those prayers you pray. So pray for your children. Know exactly the kind of child you want. If you want a girl or a boy, of course, you can even go to the level of praying towards that direction, what you want and how you want it, and how you want your children to grow, and the resources to train them and to feed them. This is how to prepare for marriage. Sometimes you see parents who have children that they cannot afford to feed. They can't afford to send them to good schools. They can't afford to build their lives, and they will be having some would even have the energy to train those children, and these children will grow and become so useless. And that's not God's plan for families. That's not God's plan for anyone on this earth. So you're going to be playing a very important roles in the lives of your children. So begin now that you are yet to be married to intercede for the children that are coming into your life. That just put everything in position that as they come, you see how they are going to align, and they'll make life easy. They won't frustrate you. They won't be a cost to you. They won't be a trouble to you. So begin now that you are yet to be married to prepare for that day of their arrival. The next prayer point before you marry is pray for your finances. Marriages are going through a lot sometimes because of money. Marriage needs money to thrive. You need money to have a successful home. You can't, be going through wretchedness and poverty and all that and have a successful marriage. It brings a lot of frustration. Like, it can frustrate a lot when there is no money in marriage. And sometimes it's not because the person is not educated or don't have good certificates or don't really have the qualifications or cannot do anything. But sometimes some of these things are spiritual attacks, because Satan is very good at tormenting people and afflicting people. So if you're not careful in the place of prayer and in the word of God, spiritually, you can be afflicted in your finances. So pray for your family wealth. That is what we call family wealth, family finances. We're going to pray, say, Lord, everything that has to do with your family finances, let them be in place. And your business won't be having issues when you are married, and of course you and your spouse will be in order and together when it has to do with finances. So pray towards finances, that money will not be an issue in your marriage. Some homes are scattered, and in fact some divorce is just because of money, because of finances. So it's so important that you focus on this area of prayer. Pray everything you believe and feel you want to see in your financial life when you get married. Of course, if you're a good reader, if you read books a lot, you will know the areas to pray about. Sometimes it could be money management issues, and sometimes it could be how to make the money. It could be anything. So know exactly what you want to see and begin to pray in the area of your finances. So you pray for your spouse finances, pray for your own finances, and pray that everything works together for your good in that marriage when you get into it. The next prayer point before you marry is pray against unforeseen circumstances. Unforeseen circumstances are circumstances that you never thought you were going to see. There are some conditions, some things that you never planned for. Just like tomorrow or the next hour, you don't know what is coming there. It takes your faith in God to carry you through every season. So there are what we call unforeseen circumstances. It could be an unexpected trial, temptation, anything. It could be anything. They are unforeseen circumstances. They just came unannounced, unplanned for. So you pray that unforeseen circumstances will not mess your marriage up, and you are not going to affect unforeseen circumstances that you cannot manage. So you pray that God takes control and fight your battle, and make the crooked way straight before you, because the Bible says that he will go before us to make the crooked way straight. So you pray and channel your prayer towards this area, that unforeseen circumstances that is not of the Lord will not come your way, and it will not frustrate your life or your marriage as you enter the marriage, whether it is coming by any reason or just pray and pray against anything unforeseen circumstances that will come. The Bible calls Satan a thief. He comes to steal and kill and destroy. So he can come anytime without, prior notice. Of course, thieves don't tell you when they are coming. So you pray against all negative unforeseen circumstances. The sixth prayer point before you get married is praying for the grace of God upon your life. That's what we call grace. Grace is ability to do things that you cannot do. You pray for the mercy of God. You pray that the grace of God helps you to, succeed in your marriage, even in areas where you are weak, times when you are down, times when you might not be getting it all right. You pray for the grace of God through getting married, your wedding, your children, managing your home, daily experiences, even there's what we call trying times in marriages. It comes, that even when it comes, that the grace of God will carry you through those times and those seasons. So you just intercede that you have the grace of God, because it takes grace to make difficult times easy and to make everything easy. So of course you need grace to succeed in life. So if you're going to succeed in your marriage, you need the grace of God. Marriage is a responsibility that requires a lot of commitment, a lot of attention, a lot of a lot of investment, and you need the grace of God to carry you through it. I hope this video blesses you. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and drop a comment. Share the video. My name is Esther Christian. God bless.